Drake did what Drake does best. Kanye said this in his Drink Champs interview. He said, Drake, if he beefs with you, he's going to do it in a tactical, maniacal way. He's going to do it in a way where he's going to get everybody surrounding you, and he's going to make women turn on you, and he's going to make family members question whether they even like you, and then he's going to subliminally diss you and make you guess whether he's talking about you or not. That's Drake's way. It's a sneaky, snaky way, but hey, man, it gets some people talking and, wondering. So Drake did just that. So Rick Ross and Drake have been known to have a lot of music together, a lot of hits together. At one point, we're almost going to release a collab album together, but it looks like all that's going to go down the drain because Rick Ross unfollowed Drake on Instagram. And I know a lot of people, when I made the last video, when I made on the last podcast, I mentioned it. People were like, why do we care if Rick Ross unfollows or all these? Well, I mean, if you unfollow somebody, you probably don't fuck with them anymore. That's just kind of the reality of the situation, especially with these celebrities. If they unfollow each other, there's something going on there. So he unfollowed Drake, was on an album with Metro Boomin and Future, who Drake is not cool with right now. At least we knew Drake wasn't cool with Metro Boomin, but now we know he's not cool with Future anymore either. So he was on that album, the We Don't Trust You album. Metro Boomin made it clear, hey, if you're on our side, you're on the album. If you're not on the album and you want to be on that side, stay on that side. That's where he drew the line in the middle, which I like. Hip-hop is a competitive sport. There's literally a billboard that was put up by Spotify Rap Caviar. I said hip-hop is a competitive sport. Now, who put it up? We don't know. It could be Drake, could be J. Cole, could be Kendrick, could be just Spotify, just flaming the flames. Who knows? But Rick Ross unfollows Drake. Drake does what Drake does. He invites Rick Ross's ex to give her a VIP treatment at his concert. So let's go over the article. Drake and Rick Ross were once close friends and collaborators, but it appears that the rumored tension between the pair has gone up a notch. Rose's ex-girlfriend, Christina Mackey, became the latest pawn in their apparent rift as she was seemingly given the VIP treatment at one of Drizzy's recent stops on his It's All a Blur tour. Mackey, a personal trainer and singer, shared a photo of an OVO-branded envelope with her name on it containing tickets to Drake's concert in Sunrise, Florida this past weekend. Mackey, whose relationship with Rick Ross ended just weeks ago, also posted a video of her rocking out to his performance from a premium seat. Yeah, man. It's unclear if the tickets came from Drake himself, but it's possible it was a calculated move considering Ross had unfollowed Drizzy on Instagram just a few days earlier. So, yeah, tensions are rising. Drake, the funny thing after this is Rick Ross decided just recently to post a video of him riding around listening to Kendrick Lamar's diss on Like That. Yep, he listens to the whole verse. He's bumping. He's loving it. So, clear. He's making it clear as day he doesn't fuck with Drake anymore. And this is funny. This is the funny thing about William Roberts, a.k.a. Rose. Let me go over some statistics for you guys because this is what I find hilarious about this. Rick Ross's career revolves around Drake, basically. Like, his top songs are with Drake. And I said this a while ago when I was comparing. I don't know what I was comparing at the time. But all of Rick Ross's biggest songs feature Drake or have Drake involved in them. And this is the stats for it. I'm on one. That's the DJ Khaled. I'm on one. Fuck it. I'm on one, which is a fire track, by the way, featuring Drake, Lil Wayne, and Rick Ross. Number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. By the way, this is in a 19-year career for Rick Ross. 19-year career. This guy's never had a top 10 by himself. Even if it was featured with somebody, he'd never had that. He had to have Drake to do that. Money in the Grave, Put My Money in the Grave. That went number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. And their biggest one, Lemon Pepper Freestyle, went number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. And that's it. Rick Ross has never, ever had a top 10 in the Billboard Hot 100 ever. And everybody talks about this guy like he's one of the biggest rappers and the coolest. Nah, man. That just tells you right there. Drake was carrying this guy's career for a minute. Now that he's not cool with Drake, it's going to be interesting to see if Rick Ross has any relevance in music whatsoever. Unless he collaborates with Kendrick, and Kendrick kind of gives him a few bones here and there. Maybe it'll help him out. But I say that to say I'm happy The reason why I'm happy is because there's competition. I wouldn't mind Rick Ross sending a diss track towards Drake. I wouldn't mind Drake responding to Kendrick and Future. I wouldn't mind J. Cole getting to Kendrick's thing. I wouldn't mind Future going at Drake and all this stuff happening into one. Why not, man? Have some competition. These are some of the biggest in hip-hop besides William Roberts, a.k.a. Rick Ross. Some of the biggest that are right now relevant besides William Roberts, a.k.a. Rick Ross. They need to go, man. It's competition, bro. Let's just get it. Let's get it done. And, yeah, we'll keep our eye on this, man. And Drake recently posted on Instagram. This is what he said. And he just posted this while I'm recording this podcast, which is hilarious. He said this. Posted a photo of himself. On Instagram, he said, "They rather go to war with me than admit they are their worst enemy." Ha! So I don't know what the fuck that means, man. He's saying, hey, man, they're terrible in their own selves, but, you know, instead of, you know, worrying about themselves, they're worrying about me. So that's, you know, Drake turned it from trigger finger to Twitter fingers. That's basically what he's turned into. He used to be the guy that was battling, but now he's not even. He just posts social media posts. I just remember when Meek Mill was going through it, everybody's like, oh, you're on tour, you can record in the studio. Meek Mill was getting flamed for not responding. Drake, all this time is gone. How many days has it been since the song came out, man? It's been a whole week, basically, and nothing. So where's the excuses? People are going to say, oh, Drake needs to take his time. It took Nas 3-4 months to respond with Ether. Give it some time. But God forbid Meek Mill took 3-4 months or took a week. You guys were on Meek Mill's neck. That's not fair. So I think if an artist is on tour, there should be provided a pass. I think Meek Mill should have been provided a pass with, hey, he's on tour, he can't focus. Because you have to think about this. If you're in a battle with that high profile of an artist, you need to be able to focus and be able to deliver. Because that's hard to do, man. While you're on tour, you're dealing with a lot of different things. And just to get off tour and record, it's like a lot harder than, especially to do a calculated diss, it's a lot harder than just if you're at home and you get that, you know, diss at you. The best, I think the worst times is to release a diss while you're making your album because you need to be focused on the album. That's probably, unless you complete the album and then do the diss, which can be seen as a promotional stunt. But regardless, while you're making an album is probably the worst time because you got to focus on the album. And then while you're on tour, it's probably one of the worst times because you're not focused. Both those times, you're not really focused like on somebody else. You're focused on your own music, and then you're focused on your fans and audience and everybody that's making sure they get good shows. So Drake's in a weird position. I don't know what he's going to say, do. I think J. Cole is working on his album and he's on tour, so I don't know how he's going to balance those two, if he's ever going to respond or if he's going to do little subliminals. All I know is Kendrick went as direct as possible. He didn't say names, but it's very clear. It's about as clear as it can be. So the ball's in their court, and it's interesting regardless. I'm going to keep my eye on all this stuff, man. I can't wait. So hopefully I wake up one morning and there's fucking diss tracks from 5 different artists. I would love that. That's what I want to go back to that essence. Get to the competitive sport, guys. Stop Kumbaya, SpongeBob SquarePants by the fire. Ridiculous.